Hey, what's up everybody? Stick around because today we're going to talk about doing what God told you to do, but it's actually too late because there was a time limit on the thing that he told you to do, and now it's too late and you can't do it. Or something like that. It's going to be great. Stick around. Hey, what's up everybody? It's raining out today, and in the past I've gone out into the rain and gotten wet, but I'm not going to do that. I don't want to get wet. I'm Josiah Douglas. I do biblical inspiration and motivation here on YouTube 5 days a week. If that's the kind of thing that you're into, you could hit the subscribe button and we can do this every day together. So today we're going to be talking about Numbers 14:40. It says, "And they rose early in the morning and went up to the heights of the hill country, saying, 'Here we are. We will go up to the place that the Lord has promised, for we have sinned.'" So this was the Israelites after they had gone and looked at the promised land, and they decided that they weren't going to go in. God sent a plague on them, and a whole bunch of them died. And a bunch of them said the next day, "You know what? We do need to go into the promised land." And so they tried to go up there. They went up into the hills and they said, "Okay, let's go." And they went into battle against some of the people who were already living there. And you know what happened? They got beat by the people who were living there. Because at that point, even though God had told them to go into the promised land, they said, "No, we're not going to." And so God said, "Okay, now you have to go out into the wilderness for 40 years. And they said, "Well, we don't want to do that for 40 years. So that's when they went back in and they got beat by the people who are already living there in a battle. When God tells you to do something, you need to do it. You know, sometimes things that God tells you to do, they have a time limit on it. For example, the Israelites. God told them to go into the promised land and they didn't. And then God said, "Okay, now you have to wait." And there was a time limit put on it. And they tried to go back in and it didn't work out. The same thing happens for us in our lives. Sometimes God tells you to go and to do something and it has a time limit on it. If God puts it on your heart to go and speak to somebody at a coffee shop and you don't, then the time limit is up. You can't go back to that coffee shop. You can't go back to that person who's there in that coffee shop to talk to them. Time limit's over. You don't know what's going to happen in their life because you didn't talk to them. If God tells you to go and to give money to a certain charity or to somebody that you know who's struggling and you don't do it, you can't go back 6 months later and give that money to them because for all you know, situation has changed. They don't need your money anymore, or maybe all of a sudden, even if you do give them the money, that's not going to help them anymore. When God tells you to do something, sometimes it has a time limit, and you need to honor that. You need to realize that. And that's not true for everything. Sometimes God tells you to do something and it never really changes. If you do it right now, that's better, but if you wait 6 months, you're probably still going to end up doing it. My pastor has this great story of a friend of his who was prophesied over, said he was going to be a missionary, and he didn't want to be a missionary. So he left Christianity, left the church for 15 or 17 years, something like that. And when he came back to a different church and was repenting and crying to God. And you know what happened? Some random person walked up to him and put his hand on him and said, "You know what? God is calling you to be a missionary." And you know what happened? He ended up being a missionary. Even though he had left for however many years, God's will for his life didn't change. But sometimes that isn't always the case. Sometimes when God tells you to do something, you need to do it right then, because if you don't, you're going to miss your opportunity. And I think that when we get to heaven, we're all going to have to answer for the missed opportunities that God told us to do something and we didn't do it. So if God's telling you to do something, go out and do it. Go out and do it today. Thank you guys. I really do appreciate you watching my video. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button, leave a comment below. If you haven't yet, hit subscribe. And you know, if you're not doing anything right now, why don't you go and watch this video right here? All right, guys, thank you. I'll see you tomorrow.